Hi guys, Darth here back with another video. Today, doing another top 10 list for the end of the year. Gonna talk about my top 10 Black Series figures of 2023. I think it's about that time. I've gotten pretty much everything I planned to get from this year and everything that I think would make the list. So yeah, let's just get right on into it. I guess like rules is it has to be released in 2023, and I have to have gotten it obviously. And then I am counting everything after the Clone Wars Darth Maul wave. I'm not counting that wave because I did get that at the end of 2022 and counted those as on my top 10 list for that year. But yeah, this year was a pretty solid year. Actually, I think it was a really good year for Black Series, honestly. It was a little slow at the beginning. We kind of went a little while without getting like any mainline waves, and we got like one wave that was like okay, but I wouldn't say it was crazy impressive. And then over the summer, we got some pretty good figures. Then towards the end of the year, we got like 3 or 4 waves almost all at the same time, and a lot of really good stuff came out with them. So in front of you here is not the top 10. These are just a bunch of honorable mentions, just some figures that I really like this year that didn't quite make the list, but kind of encapsulate some of the good stuff that came out. We've got stuff like Morgan Elsbeth and Luthen Rail, who I think are sleeper hits for this year, mainly because their head sculpt and face print. I think both look absolutely incredible. The likeness, I think they just were spot on with both of these figures, even though they're kind of boring characters, and not in terms of their character, but in terms of an action figure. They're kind of just people in clothes. There's nothing super cool about them. They're not wearing armor and weapons and having weapons like Sabine, or they're not like a Darth Vader or anything like that. But I think these came out really well. Like this likeness here on Luthen especially, I just absolutely love that. That looks really good. So these two are really great. Might be a bit surprising that Clone Wars Ahsoka did not make my list. It's a really good figure, and I definitely see why people will have her on their list. But for me, I like Ahsoka, but she's not my absolute favorite character in the world. There were just other characters and other figures that came out this year I just valued a lot more. But this is definitely my favorite Ahsoka that they put out so far. It's a really good one. Another cool thing that surprised me was the Bad Batch Season 2 Hunter. I got the whole squad, the whole wave, Walmart exclusives, and all of those get an honorable mention. I was going to skip on them. I'm glad I didn't, but my favorite would have to be Hunter. He's like 80% new molding, new sculpt, and he turned out really nicely, but they're all super cool and have various things that upgrade over the previous releases, in my opinion. Sabine was solid, great paint apps, good array of accessories for a standard release. The likeness, I think, pretty good. I wouldn't say 100%, but it's pretty good. But she didn't make the list, mainly because this figure, you have a chance to get a helmet that is sculpted not properly. It's too flat on the top, and unfortunately the one I got has the malformed helmet, and even if you heat it up, or at least I've tried heating up and I still can't fix it. So that's kind of annoying that I can't really use the helmet with this figure. It's still a really cool one, but yeah, she didn't quite make my list. Cal here, really nice. I really like this character a lot. This is a definite upgrade from the first Black Series Cal Kestis figure. I just haven't played the game yet, so I don't really have much of a connection to this version of him, and there's just other characters that I thought were a lot cooler that came out for me personally this year. The Dual Zen Darth Vader, absolutely an awesome figure. He would have been on my list, but I didn't think it was fair to have a figure that was mostly reused. But a lot more new stuff than I expected. He's got a brand new torso with battle damage on the back, or front and back. It's got the cut holes in the fabric. The helmet sculpt, it's a bit dusty, but the helmet sculpt and the likeness in there, it's a little hard to see, but I think is all close to flawless. It looks really, really good. He's got vertical hinges on both wrists. It's definitely one of their best Black Series Vaders they've done. He's really great. Kersantan is a nice deluxe. He's one of the better Black Series deluxe releases that came out this year, but I just feel like he should have came with a bit more accessories. The articulation really isn't crazy good. It's just okay. But he's a nice figure that has a nice presence on the shelf with my other Mando, Book of Boba Fett characters and whatnot. The Rebel Commando, I imagine, will make a lot of people's lists. I really do like it. It's a great design and a great figure, but ultimately, I just don't feel it was worth that deluxe price point. Yeah, he's got a bit more paint than the average figure, but they didn't paint underneath in the joints for the knees. So if you bend the knees, that looks weird. He should have came with more accessories. The face plates, the interchangeable faces aren't usable with the other Hoth Rebel Trooper, which is a bit of a bummer. I really do like it, but yeah, I think it just doesn't have enough going for it for the price point. And then lastly, this came out at the very beginning of the year. You'll hear this a lot. We got a ton of characters that came out this year that I just did not think would ever get Black Series releases if you asked me a few years ago. Mara Jade's one of them. They did reuse the Jaina Solo mold, which is kind of why she's not on the list, but I think it reuses it really well. It's well articulated. The new parts look really nice, and I absolutely love the head sculpt and face print. I think it's one of my favorite female sculpts in the entire line. The hair looks great, the face looks great, and right out of the box, the face was super matte, no glossy finish whatsoever, which just makes it look absolutely incredible. I really do like this figure a lot. But yeah, that's pretty much it for stuff that came out that didn't make my list. So let's get on to the actual top 10. And number 10, it pains me to put him so high on the list, but we have Merrick from the Ahsoka series. Even though the character didn't really do that much, I really do like the character, or at least the concept of the character, being a resurrected Inquisitor or a surviving Inquisitor turned mercenary. I think is a cool concept, and I really like the design. I love the design of his armor, the whole medieval knight looking bit. He's got the side cape, which I'm actually really happy they included with this figure. I think the Ahsoka's little shoulder cape works out pretty well, and the figure is really nice in terms of accessories. He's got the cape and he's got the double-bladed lightsaber that you can store on his back. Articulation is really good. He's got all of the modern articulation, including the new ball-jointed hands that can move every which way. And the articulation is just smooth. It feels good to pose. Sometimes figures don't feel that way. And the sculpt is good, but it was just the paint was just, and the colors chosen were really bad. It won't look like this here because I've actually given this figure all the armor a black wash, but the armor was a really light gray. The little slits in his helmet weren't painted, and the rust looked way too bright. It was way too much of a bright orange. I went in and did a black wash, and it's not like crazy. I think it's a lot better. It's not like a crazy custom paint job or anything like that. I've seen some people do some really incredible work with this figure, but for me, it's good enough for me. It's a lot darker now, and it also darkened up the rust a bit. I think it looks a lot better. If it had came stock like this and I didn't have to fix it, this would have been a lot higher on my list because I really do like this figure and a lot. It's a lot of fun, but just because I had to mod it because it had just such a big issue where it was bothering me that much, I just feel like that detracts from the figure a bit. So he is number 10. At number 9 is another figure that kind of unfortunate he's so high on the list, and I was kind of wrestling on where to put him, and he ended up landing here. It is Ezra Bridger from from technically Ahsoka, from the little hologram, like the first episode or whatever, but it's also his season 3, season 4 look from the cartoon, and it's probably my preferred look for him from the show. And it pretty much works as a realistic version of the animated look. And I really like this figure a lot. He is, I think, new sculpt from head to toe, aside from his accessories. I think the head sculpt and likeness looks really good. It looks like the actor, but also looks plausibly like the animated character model, just made realistic. He's got his lightsaber. He's got his pistol. You can store the pistol in the holster there. You can clip his lightsaber to his belt. Some nice sculpt and painted detail, great articulation. Just an overall really solid Black Series figure, and I really like Ezra, and this is my favorite look for him. So, yeah, just a solid release this year. At number 8, we have the Gaming Greats Republic Commando Scorch, the last member of Delta Squad we needed to complete the set. I'm very happy that we got the Delta Squad Republic Commandos in Black Series 6-inch. Like I'll say a lot, we got a lot of characters a few years ago I never thought we'd get in Black Series, Delta Squad definitely being a few of them, and I think he is the best one out of the bunch figure-wise. I know these guys are kind of controversial because they reuse that Hunter mold. I've talked about this before. I really don't mind it at all. It's a great mold for articulation. Maybe they're a little on the thin side, but it's not that bad for me, and I just think this figure is great. The paint apps and the colors, I think, look really awesome. He's got the thigh piece there, which is super cool. He's got the new sculpted backpack with these little cylinder things, and he has a new sculpted blaster with the anti-armor attachment as well. And yeah, just really happy to have Scorch and to complete the squad, so he had to make the list. Just one of my favorite characters, clone characters from one of my favorite clone squads. And at number 7, again, kind of criminal. This figure has to be so high, or so low rather, on the list. It is pre-Vizsla. I was really excited when this figure got announced. It's a character I've wanted in Black Series and Vintage Collection for a very long time, and I've wanted this look as well for a very long time. And this is one of those moments where my love for the character kind of helps this figure be on the list a bit, because I really like Vizsla a lot. It's one of my favorite Mandalorian characters, and I really like his design of his armor. But Hasbro really kind of cheaped out here. They reused that old Jango Fett mold that has not aged well at all. The articulation's clunky and hindered in a lot of areas. He doesn't stand the greatest. But I hate to say it, but it still, at least from a look wise, still works a bit. This figure looks really great. I love the armor, the shiny metallicness of all the armor bits. I think look really good. The helmet and sculpt and paint, I think just looks incredible. I absolutely love how that looks. He's got the new backpack, which is painted really nicely as well, and you can port effect parts in the thrusters. You can pose the thrusters. You can remove the missile. He's got his pistols there. He does come with the Darksaber. You can actually store the Darksaber hilt on the jetpack, which is something that the TVC can't do, which is kind of interesting. And if I can get the helmet off, he even has a pretty dang good pre-Vizsla realistic sculpt and print underneath the helmet there, which I really like as well. So yeah, I don't know. You know, it shouldn't have used such an old mold. I think they definitely could have benefited from completely remolding, doing a new mold. They could have gotten a lot more Mando figures out of it. But yeah, I don't know. I still really like this figure a lot. So yeah, number 7. And at number 6, we have the Black Series Cad Bane. This is specifically the one that came in the 2-pack with Cobb Vanth. That came out first before the standard release, and the standard release is just starting to come out now. But I wanted the 2-pack because I wanted that version of Cobb Vanth without the armor, and I thought this version of Cad Bane looked better as well. And it's a great figure, good articulation, great sculpt and paint. I really like the head sculpt with this one that is exclusive to the 2-pack with this kind of grimace going on. Got the hat there, you can remove it. He's got the pistols, and he comes with the effect parts for the pistols, which I think looks super cool, and we don't get too often at Black Series. And he also has an effect part for his flamethrower gauntlet, which you can put on there if you want. It's just a really solid figure. Not sure if it's my favorite Cad Bane or not. The Clone Wars one's probably still my favorite just because that's the classic look. But I know myself and a lot of people were waiting for this version of Cad Bane to release ever since the show came out and he appeared in it. So now we have it, and he is a very solid release. So very happy with this one. Next up at number 5, another character I really never thought we'd get in Black Series is the Knights of the Old Republic Bastila Shan. Very nice figure. The design is a bit of an updated design from the original game. I have to assume that the Knights of the Old Republic figures that came out this year were based on art or like images from the remake that is maybe still in development. I don't know if that's confirmed, if it's still in development or not. I don't know for sure, but very cool to get a new Bastila figure. The only other articulated Bastila figure I know of is the Vintage Collection one from way back when. That's an okay figure, but I never liked the head sculpt on that one, and this one just improves it so much more. It's got an excellent face sculpt and face printing that I think is definitely one of the best female ones in the line. The figure's sculpt and paint detail in general looks really good. She does have reused legs, but I think it works perfectly fine. Cool double-bladed lightsaber that has yellow blades is, I think, maybe the first time we've gotten yellow blades in the Black Series, but I'm not entirely sure about that. Articulation's great. Just a really solid release that goes really well with the Jedi Revan and the Zalbar from a few years ago now. And at number 4, we have the Gaming Greats Darth Maul Old Master, which is based off of his skin from Battlefront 2, which is based on his appearance from Star Wars Rebels, his later appearances in Star Wars Rebels. And because it's a Star Wars Rebels character, getting the Black Series treatment, that was already going to rank high for me this year. But the fact that it's the Darth Maul, which is a look that I've been wanting them to do in figure form for a while, and the fact that this figure actually really surprised me. This is probably my favorite Black Series Darth Maul they've done so far. I really like the head sculpt and the face print and the paint on the figure in general. I'm pretty sure the head sculpts were used from the Sith Apprentice Darth Maul, but I don't know, this more vibrant red and the black and whatnot, I think just works a lot better on this figure. Looks a lot nicer. The new pieces work really well, and the reuse that makes sense and works well as well. I really like the new lightsaber from his Rebel style lightsaber. Is super cool. Articulation is really nice. It's actually like the best articulation on the Darth Maul Black Series figure. It's even better than the Clone Wars one because he actually has a lot more waist movement on this figure, which is super cool. My only real complaint is that I just wish he had more accessories. I wish he had the little cane attachment for his lightsaber. Hood would have been cool as well. Little plastic hood you could attach onto him. Stuff like that. But overall, it's a super solid Darth Maul. If you're looking for a Maul to have in your Black Series 6-inch collection, consider this one. And at number 3, we have Darth Malak. Yet again, another character I did not ever think we'd get in Black Series. Even after we got Darth Revan years ago, I still never thought we'd get a new Malak. But here we are. We've got a new Malak. Again, like Bastila, he's got an updated look, but I actually like it more than the original look, actually. I like the more loose uniform-looking clothing and the armor actually looking like armor. And yeah, just an excellent figure. This guy, as far as I know, is brand new sculpt from head to toe. He's got his lightsaber, which looks really nice, and he actually has storage for the hilt on the back here on this little loop, which is super cool. The soft goods cape works really well. The paint that is applied on the figure looks really nice. And the head sculpt and face print just looks super awesome with the jaw casing there. It looks really, really good, and the scarring around the face and whatnot. The eyes look really good. The tats look good. And you can open up the jaw casing, and you get that awesome gruesome detail of all the scarring, the cutaway jaw with the prosthetic voice box. That looks so cool. Again, another example of, I think, one of the best sculpts and face prints they've done in the Black Series so far. This figure really kicks ass, I'm not gonna lie. Absolutely love it. It really could have been number 1 this year if a couple other characters didn't end up getting released as well. But yeah, absolutely love this Darth Malak. Looks great with Revan, looks great with Bastila. Yeah, it's definitely the best articulated Darth Malak figure out there so far. So number 2 and number 1 were really hard to pick which one was which. Honestly, depending on the day, they're interchangeable. Both of these could be number 1, and honestly should be number 1 because I like both characters pretty equally and both figures pretty equally, but they had to go in slots. So I decided to put Darth Malgus at number 2. But this figure is absolutely incredible. I was super stoked when they announced this figure was coming out. And then when they revealed it, I was super excited even more. And then when it came out, yeah, it fulfilled all my expectations. This figure is absolutely incredible. It's definitely my favorite deluxe figure they've done so far. I think it's definitely one of the figures that is a bit more deserving of deluxe than other releases. And yeah, it's great. He's big, he's tall, he's decently hefty, he's got great articulation. Like, I got him in a pretty nice two-handed pose here, which is great. He's got that extra long lightsaber, so it looks proper because Malgus is so big. Absolutely excellent. I just can't really see it too well, but absolutely excellent head sculpt and face printing on this guy. I like that he can remove the mask. It looks pretty good, and he's got some scarring detailing. He's got a nice soft goods cape and a soft goods hood that actually doesn't look goofy, which is awesome as well. Nice paint apps that are applied anyways. I mean, the only thing I can say, if I had to really nitpick, is it would have been nice if he came with some interchangeable hands and a little more weathering on the armor. But aside from that, I absolutely love this figure. Darth Malgus is one of my favorite Sith Lords and one of my favorite expanded universe characters from the old Legends continuity. So yeah, absolutely love this character and this figure. And I think it is the best Darth Malgus. Jeez. They look too similar and they're named too similar. Darth Malgus is definitely the best Darth Malgus figure you can get. I think it's better than the Vintage Collection by far, and I think it's even better than the Sideshow figure. Even though that figure is nice, I think this one is just overall a lot better. And then at number 1, we have Starkiller. This is the exclusive version with all the extra accessories and the 2 Stormtroopers. And yeah, Starkiller, absolutely love this character. Another one of my favorite Legends characters. I grew up playing the shit out of Force Unleashed 2, or the first Force Unleashed on my PSP way back when it first came out. I remember when the game was coming out, I was super excited for it. I got it, and I just played through it so many times and played all the different modes and all that. So got a fair amount of sentimental feelings towards Starkiller as a character, and he's just a cool character anyways. And they really nailed this figure, I think. It looks absolutely incredible. I think the likeness to Sam Witwer is really good. I think the paint and sculpt on the figure in general is really nice. The articulation's good, and because this is the exclusive, he comes with a ton of accessory with multiple interchangeable hands. In total, 3 different head sculpts and 2 lightning hands, a force push hand, the 4th repulse effect, and the 4 different blades. Technically, you get a normal red blade, a normal blue blade, and then you get the red and blue swooshing effects for the lightsaber blades as well. He's got all these different hole ports, so you can, if you have extra lightsaber hilts, you can put different lightsaber hilts on his belt. Look like he's collecting them from different kills and whatnot. Yeah, it's just an absolutely excellent figure. They did do a mainline release, which is basically just what you see here, except for a different hand on the left side, which is fine. But for this character, I definitely want to have all those extra accessories, even though it was pretty expensive, and I wish they didn't include those 2 Stormtroopers. But it is what it is. Still really great. Like I said, the number 2 and number 1 could be pretty interchangeable. I like both characters quite equally, and both figures quite equally as well. But I figured with all the extra accessories that the exclusive came with, Starkiller had to take number 1. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Like I said, it was a super solid year for Black Series. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out in the next year. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. That's pretty much all I got for you. Let me know what some of your guys' favorite Star Wars Black Series figures were of this year. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. May the Force be with you.